All right, we are live. We have got Invest New with Mark Lim and Fredrik Sandvall. Today we'll talk about how to grow your business, how to get ideas so you can grow your mindset, and also how can you be more profitable. I love profitable sales. Mark, what does profitable sales mean to you, and why is it different from sales?
Oh yeah, well, I don't know if you've ever been in a business that sells things below cost,
Yeah, of
but
course
I
I've seen
have.
that. I've seen that.
Big companies sometimes do that, and then they don't know that they're doing it. So
Yeah, exactly.
sometimes they don't realize because they don't have good measurement and tracking systems, and or their team doesn't really follow the plan. And so, yeah,
Dude.
definitely, sales can be selling at a loss, or a business can be running at a loss the more they sell because they are not built in a profitable way. They don't have a
Yeah.
profitable revenue model, or a business model. So a lot of businesses, actually, the vast majority of businesses are losing money.
Yeah, losing money or break even. And again, like so many of the smaller and medium businesses are basically sponsoring their own job so they can have the freedom of being self-employed, so they can work twice as hard for half the money. With that
Absolutely.
said, you are also founder of a business. So
Mhm.
you got Magnetic Alliance. Again, for people who have no idea and don't pick up the accent yet, Mark is working out of Australia, and he is working with growth as well as how to develop firms, specifically focusing on the profit side. We'll dive a lot into that.
Mhm.
And also think about other systems like inside to create profit can be systems, it can be succession. We hopefully also touch upon exits. And for those of you listening to this podcast, you know that some of you would like to have a business, some of you have got a business, some of you would like to sell your business, and other people like to buy your business. And we're all on the same podcast. So let's make the best out of that
Yeah,
whole
for
mix
sure.
of people. So, yeah. Jumping into a question for you here. What could be blind spots for a business founder that can ultimately kill the whole company? What could be some of the blind spots that you see?
Yeah, well, according to the data that we have in Australia, and it would be quite similar at the very least Western countries.
Yep.
Big proportion of businesses fail, right? Like depending on the study, depending on the year, something
Yep.
like 50% in year one, 90% by year five, and
Yes.
96 to 99% by year 10. So most
Yep.
people don't make it past 10 years. But why do they actually uh, fall apart? 40 to 45% of the reason is poor strategy. So they didn't really have a plan. They didn't have a plan to win. They didn't have a
Yep.
direction. They were just doing stuff. The other big chunk is about 30% due to finance, their financial control. So when you take those two things, 45 and 70, that's the vast majority of why businesses fail.
Yeah, exactly.
And the rest are made up of little other reasons. But that from experience, from our experience, the businesses we see that don't do well, those are the common problems.
Yeah. So to give you some guidance out there, so most people who would like to buy a business, they like to buy like a machine that is printing money. So therefore, if you
Mhm.
don't have the system, if everything depends on you completely, it doesn't work. So in the same way, if you don't have the money machine working, it doesn't matter if you grow because all of a sudden you will run out of money or
Mhm.
resources, or your pile of invoices will be bigger than your money coming in. So feel free to expand on my statement.
Yeah, well, people who are looking to buy businesses typically go a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
One is the more kind of safer route, supposedly, is the franchise way,
Yeah.
right? They
True.
they they go there to buy, and in a lot of cases, they have a lot of the front end systems in place. What
Yes.
I've found in many big franchises that I have seen and I have been able to get to know is that they're very unsystemized in the back end. So
Yeah.
they're all over the place, and it's quite scary that people are buying their system when they really have no systems in place for the business side. So that's one way. And another way that they could go down the path is just buying a business from someone who's selling it, right? And
Yeah.
they're a bit more alone in that sense because they're just buying a business that someone's selling and then they've got to figure everything out. Again, most of the time, it's not very systemized.
Yeah.
And so they're usually a, coming from a job, maybe the corporate world, they come out, maybe they're struggling to kind of keep up with everything that's going on. They decide they're going to buy a business and run it. And if the business has been around for quite a while, it's a bit safer
Yes.
because it's got the reputation and everything. But a lot of businesses or business owners struggle when they go into that because they lose the owner who's done it for 20 or 30 years. They go into it and there is no system. So they have to figure everything out and they're in the
Yep.
deep end. So, it can be quite scary for people. And there's a lot to learn, very different from having a job versus running a business. So yeah, it's something that is, I think, quite tough, but it's easier. Either of those options is easier than starting a business from scratch with an idea.
Yeah, good
That's
point.
even more difficult.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was quite recent because I work with similar things, but again, business growth, profitability, scaling through different metrics and ways. And I came up with a list of 1,023 levers to pull to make, of course, you can't focus on 1,023 things, but there are so many things you can actually do to increase the value of your business.
yes,
But coming back to
absolutely.
where we
We
started, sell profitable stuff.
I like that because we've come up with um, a number of levers. We have about
Yes.
85 that
Yeah.
we've created services around,
Yes. Good.
but those 85 have got sub levers. So you're right. There's
Indeed.
a lot of things you
Probably the
can do,
same.
yeah, to improve the value of a business, the growth of a business, the scalability, the profitability.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, because we have that system, we find it very doable to
Yeah.
take a business, grow it, make it profitable, and then exit for
Yeah.
a better value, better outcome compared to
Yeah.
where we started.
So let's focus on the time as one factor, which might be limiting to a founder. Uh, how can you help the owner to multiply their hours? What need to change first?
To multiply the hours, you mean save more time
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah.
have more free time? Yep. Uh, there's usually four different things that we look at. One is elimination,
Okay. Yeah, I
right?
like it.
Stop doing things you don't need to do. It's kind of like the
Ooh.
way I explain it. It's like if you're gonna move a house, right, from one place to another, there's no point if you're gonna bring junk with you, pack it
Yeah.
up, transport it, unpack it, and then throw it. You got
Yes.
to throw it at the point where you're about to leave. So same in the business. You don't want to do things and improve a process that really you don't need, right? Or
Yeah.
make it part of something else that you don't need, or give a job to someone that's not really required. So the first step is you've got to really eliminate. And then the next thing that we really love to do is automate so that
Yes.
no one needs to touch
Yeah.
that thing again. And after automating, if you can automate whatever it is that you could, and you can't automate any further, then the next thing is to delegate.
Yeah.
Once we delegate processes to other people and other team as we grow the business, then usually we are able to free up about 80% to 90% of a business owner's time.
Indeed.
And anything that they still need to do, then we template.
Yeah.
At least it's faster, so they don't have to recreate the wheel over and over again. So we
Yeah.
are very highly systemized in the way we operate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can absolutely recognize all of those things, but the tricky thing for the founder is to actually do it. You read it in a book, you heard on this podcast, the problem is to actually do it.
Yep.
And same thing there, like to move away from your to-do list to put it in your calendar
Hmm.
on schedule tasks instead of just having a to-do list of to-do list. And
Hmm.
someone smarter than me said, Fredrik, you will still have a to-do list when you die. and that's okay. Check.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
Humbling and
uh,
good advice.
yeah, it's all in the implementation, and this is
Yes.
where a lot of people fail. Is I mean, it's easy to come up with a strategy. Where they really need help is how do they implement? Because it's like, there's a funny coach that I think it might be a joke, right? That this athlete who's a runner
Yeah.
asks their coach, "How do I win?" And they say, "Run faster."
Yeah. Score
And
more often. Yeah.
yeah, and so like it's the same thing. First, they need to know what to do, but then they need to know how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where they get lost because 90% of the work is in how to do it. And the wrong kind of advice, the wrong type of coaching, or the wrong type of approach sends them in all different directions and they get nowhere and they think, well, this doesn't work. It's like,
Yeah.
well, how can delegation not work when it works everywhere else in the world? How do these companies survive if they can't delegate? It's only you who can't delegate,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's we gotta make sure that the owner is able to implement, and that's why a lot of businesses fail. They fail to implement because that's the hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, personally, I've got yeah, between two and 300 people, depending how you count, of a team to manage.
Hmm.
Same thing there. Like, you need to do all of the things you said.
Mm.
So many things that I've stopped doing in the last year. I'm doing a huge automation process that will outlast my time in this organization by many, many years. I mean, things have not been simplified for decades will now be automated, which is like, thank you very much. Why did no
Yeah.
one do this before in terms of delegation? Same thing that you need to trust people to get on with their stuff because you can't micromanage if you got a big organization. So I would like to ask you, you also work with different companies. The
Mhm.
very small company, who might be one of the most important first hires? And then like if you move up to now maybe a team of 10 or a team of 20, who might be your closest ally to help you to save time? The word is yours.
Yeah, so
Focus on the
maybe it
time
may,
aspect now.
yeah, it may not be the most important in the scheme of things, but the
Yep.
easiest one I find, and that we do for a lot of people is we break up business in a few different buckets, right? Different categories.
Yep.
Any business has to do these things. One is you have to sell, right?
Yes.
Sell, market, any activity that's involved in selling. The next is you have to deliver the thing that you sold, right?
Yep.
That's another category. And then
Yes.
you have to make sure that you handle all the back office functions, invoicing, and all that kind of stuff. And then the cycle just repeats.
Yep.
So, the easiest one out of those three, depending on the business owner, is 90% of the time the administrative function,
Yes.
because you can give the task to someone and show them how to do it. With sales, it's a bit harder because there's a lot of psychology involved. There's like different characteristics involved that people need to have, different grit, different, type of personality. But with admin, that is usually something that anybody can do. So the first thing that I did, and when I started working, I was working crazy hours, like 9 a.m. to 2 a.m., 7 days a week for
Yep.
about the first 2 years. But the first hire that I made that really started freeing me up was an admin person,
Yes.
actually from the Philippines,
Yep.
where I started just giving them stuff like, okay, now you help me find hotels. Now, if I want a quote on business cards, you look it
Yep.
up. Now, if any printing that we need to do, you find a
Yes.
printer. I just start giving them easy stuff to do, and then I take 5, 10, 20 hours away from me, and then I start delegating more and more to other parts of the business. So
Yep.
usually, if a business owner doesn't know where to start, that's always a good place to start, because everyone that I find, whether you're 1 million, 10 million, 20 million, $30 million business, the
Yep.
owner typically is always doing some form of admin
Yep.
that they haven't let go yet.
Yeah, we did not rehearse this, and I was hoping you would said exactly what you just said. Why? Because it's the same thing I observe over and over again. it's the same.
Mm,
So usually the founder or founders are limiting themselves to focus on low value tasks
yeah.
when they don't have to, where they
Yes.
don't need to put their time. And also like it might be deal making, sales, partnerships, which is worth 10, 100x to that
Yeah,
hour you will
absolutely.
look for that hotel room, for example.
It's very common to find the highest paid person in the business doing the lowest paid
Yeah,
tasks.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
because they
lowest
used to
value
do
tasks.
everything before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. It's the same also down under as on the other side.
That's right. Yeah. Both hemispheres.
Yeah, it comes together. So you have some links all over the world. Are you working more with companies outside Australia or more exclusively or more online? How do you deal with your own business, so to speak?
Yeah. So we used to deal with a lot of corporation. That's where we started off, kind of like big companies. We did a lot of consulting, advisory, and stuff to
Yep.
big companies. We did it like all different parts of the world. However, to systemize what we were doing, we started dealing with a segment of the market in that kind of small that's about to go to medium.
Yeah, I got it.
So,
Yes.
so we started dealing with those guys and we focused right back to Australia just to keep time zones and all that kind of stuff more simple. And now as we've expanded and we've grown in different ways, we're now starting an investment fund and we have people who are interested in investing from overseas as well. So
Yep.
we're kind of back to dealing with various different geographies and different locations.
Yeah. No, no, that's good to hear because again, the great thing with doing what you're doing, you can pick ideas and partners and so on from other parts of the world, which might be less common in your area, and vice versa. You bring best practice from where you are to somewhere else. And
Yeah.
also working with people smarter than yourself, that's usually a great way also to learn from your customers. Or you might learn from mentors or books or whatever. So, where have you picked up most of your business learnings if you look back and reflect over the last 10 plus years? Where have you learned the most?
Yeah, so there's
And school is
two,
allowed to say as well. It's allowed.
yeah, there's two main areas.
Yeah.
One is through experience,
Yes.
right? Diving in and getting thrown problems. So when I was in the corporate world, I I didn't have a job role. I was kind of a guy that the boss
Yep.
borrowed for 3 weeks to help
Yes.
fix a problem, and I fixed it quicker than what they expected. So they started saying, "Well, we've got a bit more time. You can do this as well." So, I got thrown into a lot of problems and I became literally a problem solver for the
Yes.
company for many years. So I learned from experience getting thrown in the deep end. And then when we started a business, we were starting an advisory firm and you had like, KPMG next door with 160,000 staff.
Yep. Yep.
You had like all these big firms, all well established. So we took all the jobs that no one wanted, the hardest jobs,
Ah, that's great.
the most difficult ones that no one think can be done.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we focused on doing that at the beginning. So we got really complicated projects, and so experience was a great teacher. But the other teacher is mentors and coaches.
Yep.
And I've had mentors and coaches throughout the whole time, at very, very high levels. Some of them are very big entrepreneurs as far as they've got like massive businesses.
Yes.
And I'm fortunate enough to have gotten to know them through my time working with various different businesses. And also I have, people that have, I don't know, taken a liking to mentor me because the experience I have is quite unique and weird. Like it's not a standard pathway.
Yep.
And so something about that captivated them, and they decided they would like to invest in me,
Yes.
and to pass on their knowledge and pass on all the things they've done in their lifetime, and I've been very, very fortunate to get that, and also work with coaches who are specialists and really good at what they do. So I've had a lot of mentors,
Yes.
and also I learn from anyone too. They don't have to be uber successful for me to learn from. Sometimes I learn from the new person. I
Yeah.
learn from the graduate or the intern who comes in. But I also learn from not just like someone teaching me, but someone talking to me. You know, like
Yes.
especially when you talk to someone with a very big business with thousands of staff, they tell you something, you kind of go, they're telling me something that's really valuable.
Yes.
And so I learn from that as well.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's I'd say those kind of channels is one is really hands-on experience, and secondly, a lot of mentoring and coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. So you speak about how to grow a business. Sometimes you do that for a very specific purpose, perhaps some kind of exit or part exit, or thinking about succession to handing over to the next generation.
Mhm.
So why would or should or could a founder prepare for an exit? What's the value in preparing today, even if you don't even plan to sell or do anything today?
Yeah, like well, there's two main things, right? Like I think everyone should prepare for an exit, no
Yeah.
matter whether they want to sell or they think they don't want to sell or they want to sell down the track.
Yes.
Because the reason why they should prepare for an exit anyway is to systemize the business and make it not reliant on them,
Yeah.
right? Because, you know, at the exit point, if you need the owner, it's going to be hard to exit and you're kind of stuck in the business. So if you make it so that you're no longer required in the business, you have a choice whether you want to exit or you don't. You can keep the business longer and exit at the right time at the highest value. And
Yep.
that's the second thing. If you need a business owner to be there, they're going to knock the value down. Like we do it all the time. We've done it for many years.
Yes.
The moment that the business is at risk, when the owner leaves, the price goes down significantly.
Exactly.
So when we're acquiring businesses, we look for systemization, and if it's not systemized, then we've got to discount the price.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
if the other reason is you want to maximize the value of your business, you have to prepare for that exit. It's too late when you want to exit now to prepare now. Usually we say give it about 3 years before to prepare and bring your business up to scratch financially,
Yes.
and also visibility and also process wise, so that you can hand it to someone coming in without them making you, you know, stay in that business for a long time until they
Exactly.
pull everything out. So yeah, those are the main two reasons why we should always look at preparing the business,
Yeah.
regardless whether you want to exit or not.
Yeah, so in a way, both of us are, but we wouldn't call ourselves coaches. Sometimes it's really hard to be a coach to yourself.
Hmm.
So we are both advising companies in a very similar way about exactly what we talk about, but putting up like a mirror at ourselves. Like if you would do this to yourself and lead by example and prepare
Hmm.
for really for the long term and for the future, I will give you three options.
Hmm.
So you can either do everything on your own, like grow everything you have got right now to be possible to sell in the future. Or
Hmm.
you can do that with someone who's even smarter than you, an advisor of some kind, shape, or form.
Hmm.
Or you might do this as, okay, we find a group of really funny people to work with from somewhere else, and we decide to do this together as a partnership. Which
Hmm.
of those three options appeal to you the most over the next 3 years? I'm not saying you're going to exit, but of
Hmm.
those three growth options, which sounds more fun?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by funny group of people, but
Yep.
definitely I wouldn't want to do it on my own.
Yep.
And I love working with people smarter than me,
Yep.
and because it's just a different game altogether when you're
Yes.
dealing with really highly capable people. So I think that would be my option
Yep.
is to pick people way more capable than me, which is like when we started the fund,
Yes.
I'm not a fund guy. I'm a operational business guy.
Yep.
But starting the fund, we've got a fund manager who's very experienced, who knows how to run a fund far better than I would.
Yes.
So now I don't have to recreate the wheel and think, how do I do this? How do I do that?
It's a great
Break things.
example. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
so
example.
I always prefer to work with really smart people, the highest level possible that
Yeah.
I can work with.
No, that's really good because again, that will lift you,
Yes.
and that means that you can lift others even better. So I like the sound of that for sure. So what do you think you will do different 12 months from now? Sorry, focus on you, but some people can learn from that as well. What will you do slightly different if you fast forward 1 year?
Ooh, fast forward one
Beyond
year.
using maybe more AI, that's too simple to say.
Yeah, like in 1 year time, I think we would be really distilling, right? We do a lot of distilling of the best opportunities because right now there are so many opportunities in front of us and
Yes.
so many different partnerships and so many different investments and so many different everything.
Yes.
So I think in 12 months time, we're going to get in that groove where we really, really will distill the absolute gold.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be doing in 12 months.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mm.
had a tough chat with AI. I went through all episodes on this podcast, which is like almost like 250 plus recorded, and we had the conversation about what I should do. And one thing as a consequence is I will do less of the generic, general, really invest in you holistically. And I will start to narrow down even further exactly in the direction where we're going with this conversation today. So more towards acquisition, strategic thinking, and so on. Of course, we'll still have the mind stuff and the health things, but we will go more in the direction of exactly what we're covering today. So yeah, with that said, you're already down that road, so I will not pick on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so capital and acquisitions, and you also got a fund. So share high level. What's the purpose of the fund? Is it for like growth capital or is it for acquisitions? Of course, you got people putting money into the fund. What might be their expectations on the fund and your company?
Yeah, so it's for acquisitions. So what happened, because we did a lot of advice for small, medium, large
Yes.
businesses. What we do is the same, regardless of the size of the business. Yeah, a large business that's, let's say, 1,000 times bigger than a small business
Yeah.
doesn't need 1,000 times more input. It might need 5 times more input from us or resource. So we were advising all these businesses, and we added a lot of revenue, like in the billions of dollars, to their revenue that they
Yes.
reported back to us. And then we thought, well, that's great. What about let's do this for us, right?
Yeah.
So we started investing in our own businesses and started, taking equity and owning stuff, and we grew that as well, quite
Yes.
significantly over time. And then it's like, okay, well, that's good, and we're turning small businesses into mediums,
Yes.
but the problem we encounter is that to get the partnership from that medium to a large
Yep.
is there's quite a bit of a um, education process. And at that stage it's really difficult to spend the time in that education process, which
Yep.
kind of acts like a ceiling. So
Yes.
we're thinking, well, to take a small business to medium is the same work for us to take a medium business to large.
Yep. I know. Yep.
So we're better off focusing on medium businesses and taking them to large. So we decided, well, if we're going to do that, we're going to need to spend more money in the acquisition process. So we go outside our own capital, and that's where now we're partnering with investors to tap into their capital,
Yes.
and so it's for acquisitions, and it's really actually really simple. We're not trying to find carbon credits in like weird technologies, and
No,
all
exactly.
sorts of different new startups. We're just taking a simple business, a traditional core business to the economy, someone that's perhaps lost their passion for it. Maybe they want to retire, they're really like not into it anymore. The profitability is dropped down, 1 to 2%, maybe up to 5%, and they really don't want to reinvent the business
Yeah.
anymore. They don't want to do the hard work. We're just going to go, let's find one of those and turn that to 10%. And
Yep.
that's it. That's all we're going to do. And then bolt on more businesses and follow that model. And it's
Yes.
really a simple model. I thought this is gotta be too simple for people to be interested in. But funnily enough, a lot of people find the simplicity really powerful. Like we've talked to a lot of people who have so much interest in what we're doing. They want to do all sorts of partnerships, and we've actually been approached by big investors who want to put in way more than what we can handle. So we
Yep.
have to really kind of set ourselves up the right way, because we need to make the first fund work and make sure that all the investors get a really, really good return. And so, we're just treating it very carefully. We want to do a slam dunk for this one. And then
Yes.
we can look at the next fund down the track and then
Yeah.
acquire larger businesses,
Yeah.
maybe with more bigger brand names that's quite well known. That's kind of like the pathway that we'd like to take. So yeah, it's a capital. The capital is for acquisition.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I got a big smile here because there's so many similarities to what I'm doing in other parts of the world. So I also have the luxury of having a lot of people from like private equity, family offices, high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals from my time in real estate and also like
Mm,
corporate advice. So at the moment, I am at the time where I do not allow for growth funds because I like to keep more control in the early days to create something more substantial before you take in growth funds. But it's really nice to build the relationships with the
hmm
people behind the money. So when it's
hmm
time later, then it completely makes sense from everyone's point of view. So yeah, I like
mm.
that. And also like the aspect of seems like your ego is not in the way. You come
Mm.
across as humble and like we can kind of do this together. That's what I read between the lines. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, thank you. Look, I love working with people, and it's good to partner with people who have capability. I think trying to do it all yourself is one, it's kind of lonely and
Yeah.
stressful. But I think that we value relationships, and we value people's expertise. We value the journey. And so I think there's really life's too short to really kind of operate out of ego.
Yeah.
We just want to have a good time. We're not trying to be the biggest business. We're not trying to be the biggest success story. We just want to enjoy life along the way, and also use our skills and talents that we've been gifted to its maximum potential.
Yes.
Because like if we could do something more fun but it doesn't really generate much value for the world,
Yeah.
I think this is the place where I can generate most value for the world. And so I think I have to maximize the
Yeah.
experience and the skills that I built. And I've dealt with all sorts of people with extreme high egos, and it's just so unenjoyable. So I
Doesn't
really
become a
I
partnership.
do this with family and friends. So like there's no room for ego in our
Yeah.
in our business really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, it is what it is, and well, there are some egos for sure out there, and also what we are talking about right now has been almost a trend of the last 5 years at different phases, where like you got entrepreneurship through acquisition, you got consulting for equity, you got like buy a business for $1 or nothing at all, and you got many people talking about this who have, I mean, we've been in the space of advising other people for quite some time. I mean,
hmm
personally, I've been doing this for, yeah, 20 plus years in terms of
hmm
helping companies to grow.
hmm
Uh, for people who come in new, they find this video or another video online, like it sounds so simple, and like you said, like the simpler it gets, the more understandable. But what are some of the traps for people who think like, okay, I don't need any education, I don't need a mentor, I can just like, or they pick one of the people who never done it to learn from.
Mhm.
What's the big red flags by maybe committing to a big debt with your personal life on the bar for maybe some kind of personal guarantee? What are the red flags for just jumping in this at the too deep end of the pool? If you do agree with my comments.
Yeah, I know what you mean because there's been a lot of videos lately saying you can buy a
Yeah,
business, you know,
yeah,
you don't have to, you can buy it for $1, you can buy
yeah,
it for nothing, you can
yes.
no money down, all this, which is great. I think you can
Yes, you
if you
can. Yeah, I've done it, so it's doable. But yeah,
if you know what you're doing. That's the big if, and I think it's very dangerous for people to go down that path who don't have the experience because it's very easy to go broke,
yeah,
right? If you don't know how to drive a plane, right? Yes, you can jump on,
yeah,
but it doesn't mean you'll land safely. And that's why there's so many people like just going broke everywhere.
yeah.
I think it's very, very difficult to acquire a business properly, to run a business properly, and to exit properly.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't advise it uh, just for everyone to do it. I would say you have to have a real level of confidence in your capability and maybe a little bit of craziness as far as taking risk.
Yep.
And you have to be prepared that you might fail and you
Yes.
might lose. Uh, if you're prepared to do all that and prepared to work extremely hard, extremely long hours, and if you're prepared to get punched in the face every day for a couple of prolonged years,
Yep.
then I think, yeah, maybe you can acquire a business with, no money. Because normally those businesses that are no money,
Yes.
they're not the easiest businesses for a reason.
No, exactly. I
Otherwise,
mean,
they'd
yeah.
cost money.
A turnaround, basically loss making from day one, even if you can get it for no money, that still means that you probably need to pump in more money for it not to die tomorrow or the week after as well. So the
Yeah.
turnaround as a term is a specialist skill for big
Yes,
problem
and
solvers, like you said before.
that's what we've done. We've done turnarounds. We've taken
Yeah.
businesses out of liquidation.
Yes.
We've taken businesses that have failed, but we have the turnaround skill set, and it's been over 22, 23 years that we've built these skills,
Yep.
and it's not something that someone who with another job just decides to pick up, acquire a business that's a turnaround because it's cheap. Otherwise, they'll be turning around, leaving their house because they're gonna lose their
Yep.
money.
Yep.
But yeah, it is a specialist skill set to do a turnaround, and we've changed it for the fun because we've done a lot of really like desperate turnarounds throughout our whole entire career. It's difficult, even if you know what to do. So what we're doing now, instead of doing a full turnaround, we're just gonna go, hey, it's slightly profitable, it could be better, and that's so much easier than trying to take a dead business, trying to revive it. We're
Yep.
just gonna take a business that's it's average, but we'll make it good.
Yes.
So yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I have been helping companies on all stages of the journey, and I have with my own companies and company I've been shareholder of done like a really strong start,
Mm-hmm.
and other businesses or the same have done a really strong middle, and then at the
Mm-hmm.
end I've done some really good exit processes.
Mm-hmm.
But for one company to do perfect of all these stages, I have not done that with one single, the same company. Are you with me what I'm saying? So I have
Mm-hmm.
some
Mm-hmm.
really strong starts, some really strong running profitable for many years. And
Yeah.
I've prepared for exits and I have done exits, but I haven't done the full cycle of the same journey, if you see what I mean. So I've done all the pieces, but not with the
Ah.
same company, all three of those. for different reasons. So if I have done a really strong foundation and middle and prepared for the exit, it's not been the ideal exit. And if it's been a
Hmm.
really good exit, the first piece have not been ideal. So for example, there might be too many other people who like to have part of the profit. So it means the exit doesn't become as profitable. And we have
Hmm.
recently had quite a few AI founders on the podcast. Some have been bootstrapping, some have been taking equity, and some take a lot of equity money early. And most of them have been growing, of course, a lot faster with a lot of money early, but they also somewhat regret that they took the money
Mm.
early because now they might not have the control, or they might have the gun or the knife to their head. And eventually, I personally think it's better to have like a smaller piece of a bigger pie.
Yep.
But I also had the luxury to have like 100% of businesses, which we have been very big before as well. So,
Hmm.
what's your advice for people out there to take money, to not take money, or some guidance, thoughts on that? Because we've seen when it's been working perfect and not so perfect.
Yeah, so yeah, just on the point before on the, the different stages,
Yeah.
I've been fortunate that I've really only had two jobs in my life, like
Yep.
as far as like what I do now is concerned. Um, and I stayed in the corporate world for about, you know, almost 10 years.
Yep.
And so I got to see the full cycle of starting a strategy, implementing it, making it, hit the bank,
Yep.
and going through again from the very beginning, acquiring something all the way to exiting. And
Yes.
then I've had this business, which has been about 14 years now. So
Yep.
we've gone through the whole entire cycle of either starting up or acquiring from the beginning, the
Yes.
whole taking the whole journey and exiting at the end. So I think a lot of people say what you say, they've been involved in this part and then they've come in at this part.
Yep.
And I think that's a valuable experience. It's also a valuable experience to go through the entire thing and see it through.
100%.
So that's something that's quite fortunate. But regarding the question of, should people take money? How should they kind of start up? And I think it really depends. Like if you
True.
don't have any other option,
Yep.
and yes, maybe you get diluted, maybe you lose control. But look, it's your training fee, right?
Yes.
It's like you said, it's better to have a small part of something big than, you know, being the biggest fish in the pond and everything else is
Yeah.
smaller, because usually you're dealing with more sophisticated people, more
Yep.
connected people. And that's like the training fee, the training fee. Next time around, you go and do it, then do it differently. But if you don't know how, if you didn't know how to get money to start with, don't have any to, to begin, then something has to give. And so, I think it all depends. If your business is gonna fail because it's undercapitalized, well, if you're gonna lose everything, well, why not give shares away and sell it to
Yep.
someone?
Yep.
So it all depends on some people are very, very afraid to lose control. Some people are afraid to give up shares, but usually they also have, limitations in their capabilities. So,
Indeed. Yep.
like somehow they think that's the only business in the world, but they could start many businesses. It's not the only
Yeah.
business that is ever going to be there. So I think that yeah, definitely uh, we always understand that in order to gain something, sometimes you have to give up something,
Yeah.
and sometimes
True.
to partner with the right people, you have to share. So,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we're of that mindset, and if worse comes to worse and your business fails and you lost control, and all that is just a learning process.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
next time you start it again, you'll be smarter. So
And
yeah.
many of those that we look up to now, that people we see in the news, some of the people who are both billionaires and getting on their way to trillionaires, they have been so close so many times, like everything on red,
Yeah.
like Oh, it was red luck. That was good. That was close.
Yeah.
Could have been black.
Well,
And
one of the
yeah,
very successful person that we interact with quite
yes,
regularly is they were broke
yeah,
and at the beginning, and for the first 14 years they were
yeah,
losing money,
yeah, exactly.
and now they have 7,500 staff
Yes,
and very, very successful, the biggest in their industry. And if they could have given up at any point in time for like the first 14 years,
yes,
but now it's a very big company. So um, there it's absolutely like they've gone through the fire, and they
yeah,
deserve
exactly.
to win. So
Yeah,
like, and we know how to generate profit. Doesn't mean that we're always profitable all the time in every single area for
yeah,
every single product.
exactly.
Not necessarily. Sometimes you have to be strategic with your profit because you don't want to have to pay unnecessary taxes as well.
Yep.
Sometimes you want to develop your business
Yes.
and reinvest in it. It's better to do it rather than paying the tax office 30%
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then spending
Yeah.
the rest.
You can
So
compound it instead. Yep. I'm with
yeah,
you.
you have some profit centers and some cost centers, and as long as you reach your goals, I think that's really important. But
Yes.
and also, even if you know how to make profit, it still doesn't mean it's easy all the time because
Yeah.
the markets change, the governments change, policies change, things get in the way, and the world,
Yeah.
shifts.
Yeah. Especially over
Um, s-
time. I mean, you see things come and go, and many of the things we see right now, I mean, macro events we could never foresee.
yeah.
And also at this have you have these macro events, and at the same time you got like all-time high on the stock market. It does not
Mm,
like make logical sense. I can explain kind of why, but it doesn't make normal sense if you study like economics
mm,
and use the economics lens and try to look and interpret today. It doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Uh,
No.
so
Yeah, and
so
I
you
have
have
a
to
finance.
adopt to that.
I have a finance background, and we've worked with economists and
Yeah.
various people. And for me, I always look at the fundamental,
Yes.
right? Like, and I don't know about the whole world, but in Australia, at the very least, we have a high inflated stock market. We have very, very high house
Yeah.
prices. There's
It's
the
global. Yeah.
interest rate is climbing. There's high inflation, but it doesn't make sense because
No.
normally, in the normal case, there should be a lot of jobs, uh,
Yes.
job growth, GDP increase,
Yeah.
standard of living increase. So everyone's making money, so everyone's spending money.
Yeah.
But the problem that I can see is that that's not the case
No, I
right
mean
now.
the middle class and below is suffering globally. At the
Yeah,
same time as they're suffering, they got a better quality of life than ever. But at the same time, they're suffering because the money doesn't last until the end of the month. Many of them.
yeah, they're the brokest that they've ever been with having all the luxuries that,
Exactly.
50 years ago you wouldn't have had.
Exactly.
Everyone's got a phone now, everyone's got a flat
Ironic. Yeah.
screen TV,
Yeah.
right? But everyone's struggling to make ends meet. So yeah,
Yes.
it doesn't make sense that the economy is kind of doing what it's doing, where so many people are struggling. It
Yeah.
it it, it doesn't quite add up.
Yeah. No, exactly. And also, I mean, some of the big conflicts and everything else going on. Yeah, it's not logical, but we will see eventually how this evolves. But I'm positive to what we are doing here, which is like value add of like the small and medium size of the businesses, which is like more than of the half of all business in the world. If we are refining them, making them more stronger, more maybe AI ready, prepared for the future, we are doing something good. So yeah, on that note, how do you invest in yourself?
Ah, yeah. Well, that's been a big part of our growth because, in the early stages, I've invested in myself hugely because um, without me growing, I am limited. Like, I'm more limited to be able to do things. So, in the early stages, I invested a lot in my professional career.
Yep.
So technical skills, project management skills, presentation skills, like all the stuff that you can learn how to do. But over time, I've also done a lot of work with mindset and personal growth, personal development. You know,
Yes.
building character, building grit, building toughness. And over time, then I've had more and more mentors who kind of integrate business advice and life advice
Yeah. Good
that
point.
has, you know, because you got to see the whole 360, because you can be so focused on the business and so unhappy in life, or so unhealthy, or so
Yes.
unbalanced. So yeah, I spend a lot of time investing in myself. I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I go and do online courses. I do coaching. I do mentoring. I travel all over the world to spend time and see my coaches, my mentors, and I've invested hugely in myself, and that pays, you know, dividends, because we can see it in the business growth.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I do everything just
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. So, as you already have heard, Mark is prepared to travel. He's got some ideas to share, and you can also follow what he's doing more as well. So, where is the best place to find you, and where is the place to find more of the stuff you share with the world?
Yeah, so our website is www.magneticaLliance.com.au,
Yep.
MAGNETICALLIANCE.com.au. That's kind of like our main site. And we
Yep.
also have what's called the Profit channel on our YouTube. That's primarily where we are. And people can watch some of our content, see some of the podcasts on the channel. And yeah, they can get in contact with us just through the website and just by going in there and in the contact page.
And for people who like to follow you personally, I presume LinkedIn might be your best channel, or is it any of the other ones instead?
Yeah, we have LinkedIn, and that's a good channel for professional connections,
Okay.
and that's to get us connected. And yeah, just the social media is the, you know, if people want to see content, they can
Yeah,
have a look
exactly.
at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have just covered a few of the angles from my thinking point of view. I would like to hand over to you. Which areas have we not touched upon, or if you got any questions at all, back to me.
Oh wow, you know, we haven't covered aliens yet, you know, like we
Exactly.
haven't covered all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was quite, you know, the questions really have been really good, and we've covered a lot of different angles, different parts of the business. And it's just such a big topic. So really, you know,
It is.
it's hard to cover everything in a short space of time. We could probably be talking about it for days and days and days if we
Exactly.
really, you know, wanted to share, you know, as
Yeah.
much as we can, and maybe years, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm just happy to answer the questions you think are important for your audience. And hopefully I've done that, you
Yes.
know, and I've given at least my perspective from my journey, and hopefully that will help someone on their journey, because, you know, hearing how other people have done it have really helped me.
Yes.
So yeah, I hope that I've covered the questions to your satisfaction.
Absolutely. So for everyone out there, I also like to share some good advice from actually multiple mentors that only because they've been working for me or for Mark doesn't mean they will work for you. So what I'm ultimately saying, like you can try to copy anyone online.
Hmm.
The only thing that they are sharing it what worked for them.
Yeah.
So what worked for you, what worked for me, might not be what worked for someone else, but you can take any of these ideas and you can make it your own and you take action upon it. And that's really what both of us are trying to do to help other people to get small nuggets so you can implement it. And as usual, this is not financial or legal or whatever, any kind of advice. This is like two guys having a business conversation, blah, blah, blah. No, but jokes aside, uh, Marcus shares some really helpful and insightful things. And like he also said, we just scratch the surface. So yeah, feel free to come back to both of us for more, or find other people who can complement what we have said. So yeah, I'll let you close out this session. So over to you, my friend.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Frederick. Really appreciate the chat. And like you said at the very end, it may not work for someone else completely, and it rarely ever does.
Yeah.
But they can pick and choose what they take from us and use that and make, if it's helpful to them, then take it. If it's not, then don't worry about it. You can discard it. So, I'm happy to share, and they can pick what they want to take and what they want to leave. So, really appreciate your time. Really appreciate the great podcast. Been really good talking to you. I've really enjoyed it, and thank you very much.
To be continued. Thanks a lot, Mark. See you guys. Welcome back. Bye bye bye.